Hey stargazers, welcome back. My name is Nick, I'm a theaters manager at the Adler Planetarium, and you're watching Skywatch Weekly. Well, I hope you've had a chance recently to get out under the sky. We've had several beautiful nights recently here in Chicago. In fact, last Friday night I had a chance to get out with the telescope and get some great images of Jupiter and the shadows of two of its moons crossing the cloud tops of that giant planet. Also got some great views of Saturn and its beautiful rings. Well, this week we're diving into the deep end, you might say, into a traditionally very watery part of the sky. It contains all sorts of strange creatures, shadowy forms, and even right now a planet that is invisible to the naked eye. So come on, let's take a dip in the celestial ocean and see what we find. Well, right now is a great time to be exploring this part of the sky because currently the moon is at a new phase. Some of these constellations are so dim, any amount of moonlight makes them that much harder to see. From light-polluted skies, they'll be a challenge for sure, but with some binoculars, you can definitely trace them out. We'll be talking about the area of sky that's currently in between Mars and the bright pairing of Jupiter and Saturn. As you can see here, not a whole lot of bright things to look at, but with some care, you can start to see some patterns emerge. Just to the left of Saturn and Jupiter is a dim, triangle-shaped pattern that marks Capricornus the Sea Goat. This odd, half-fish creature comes from the Babylonian and Sumerian mythology, but the Greeks added their interpretation of the sea goat as being the god Pan. While fleeing from the sea monster Typhon, Pan was attempting to assume the form of goat, but jumped in a river up to his waist, and so his lower half became the form of a fish. The head of the goat is most often associated with the closely spaced stars on the right-hand side of the triangle, Algety and Dobby. These two form an eye-catching, though somewhat dim pair. And if you look closely at Algety, you'll see two very closely spaced stars, similar to the spacing we saw before of Mizar, the middle star of the Big Dipper's handle, and the dimmer Alcor. Continuing east along the line of the ecliptic, we get to Aquarius, the water bearer. This is a figure pouring water out of the jug, adding to this watery region of sky. It's a very big constellation, the 10th largest by area, but contains essentially no bright star. In its boundaries currently, though, is a planetary body of interest, the planet Neptune. This is the 8th planet from our sun and is too dim to see with the naked eye, but binoculars will show it if you know just where to look, and a good stargazing app will help you figure that out. Telescopes can show a small disk, but any atmospheric features are left to large observatories and spacecraft. Neptune was only discovered in 1846, and it takes 165 years to make one orbit. So only 9 years ago in 2011, it made its first full orbit since its discovery. Neptune is named after the Roman god of the sea. The Greeks called him Poseidon. So it's fitting that for about 40 years, from 1998 through 2038, this planet will be among the stars of either Capricornus, Aquarius, or our third watery zodiac sign, Pisces the Fish. As we saw last week, Pisces is the current home of Mars, the red planet. It far outshines any of the stars in Pisces, but you can trace two dim fish held together by a rope. These are seen in Roman mythology as Venus and Cupid, who turned themselves into fish as they were fleeing the monster Typhon. These three zodiac constellations cover a very dim section of the sky, but there is a bright star much lower on the horizon below Aquarius called Fomalot or Fomalot. It marks the mouth of the southern fish, Pisces austrinus, swimming in the watery sky. Fomalot is eye-catching, if somewhat low in the sky from mid-northern latitudes. It's sometimes called the loneliest star, because there really aren't any stars of significant brightness near it. So pay it a visit It'll be happy for the company. Look for it in this part of the sky. Rounding out the watery constellations we can see tonight is a sea monster called Cetus. He can't be seen fully until after midnight these days, but he lurks beneath Mars and Pisces, rising earlier and earlier every night. And in a few weeks, we'll see how he plays a big role in a constellation soap opera that plays out in the fall sky. So my challenge for you this week, take a dip in these constellations. Challenge yourself to trace out their patterns using a stargazing app or star chart. Pay a visit to Fomalot, and maybe go on a deeper dive to scout out Neptune in the starry depths. Well, the moon is new today, but it will be growing to a first quarter moon over the week. The beautiful thin crescent is always a favorite of mine, and it'll be showing some nice pairings with stars in a spring constellation that is currently on its way out of the sky as we approach the fall. On Friday the 21st, look for the thin crescent moon low in the west, about an hour past sunset, near the star Porrima in Virgo the Maiden. The next night, look for it just above the bright star Spica, which you can still easily find using the Big Dipper's handle, arc to Arcturus, speed to Spica. Well, for the next 2 weeks, I'll be heading to some darker skies, doing some great observing, hopefully some relaxing as well. So no videos for the next 2 weeks, but we'll be back with new content and fun things to look at on September 9th. One item of note while I'm away, on the night of September 5th into the early morning of September 6th, the Moon and Mars will appear quite close together in the sky, with the Moon gliding just below the brilliant Mars. If you're in South America, you have a chance to see the Moon go directly in front of Mars. A similar event was visible from most of the United States this past February. Even though the Moon won't cover the red planet from Chicago, it should still be a beautiful view with a gibbous moon and brilliant Mars rising just after 9 p.m. So set a reminder for yourself to get out there the evening of September 5th and see the Moon and Mars rise that evening. Well, that's what we have for you this week. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you see, click that subscribe button to be notified about all the great content coming from the Adler Planetarium. And follow us on social media to keep up to date on all the cool things happening in space. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you again soon.